Hey, what's up guys, Riff here. So today we're going to be talking about the Game Awards. They're having their 10th anniversary this year, and a lot of people are talking about them for reasons we'll get into. Now, with an award show on subjective topics like Game of the Year, you'll never make everyone happy, but there is very understandable concern about the picks that are going to be selected by the Game Awards, in particular this year, based on who is running the show. Essentially, the people who are controlling the votes and who wins and who doesn't are the biggest shills in the gaming industry, in particular, journalists, who often are pushing an agenda. So a lot of people are very concerned that this is going to prioritize an agenda push instead of giving the rightful winners the awards they deserve. So I don't think anyone would be too surprised to see something like the Veilguard end up winning Game of the Year, despite the fact that a lot of people really dislike it. But anyways, the reason a lot of people are concerned is about how the winners are selected. So this is right from their website. Winners are determined by a blended vote between the voting jury, 90%, and public fan voting, 10%. So basically, the voting jury is the controlling factor. 10%, yeah, that sounds great. But really, the deciding factor in all of this is the jury voting system here. And who's a part of this jury? Well, this now deleted screenshot from their website contains some of the people who will be controlling these awards, including IGN, Inverse, Polygon, PC Gamer, the LA Times, The Verge, Pride, NPR, Game Rant, Variety, and so on. So this is a very confusing list. Even for the networks here that are actually involved in gaming, they don't inspire any confidence that they're going to make good choices. I mean, look at IGN, for example, right? This is the same company that has reviewed multiple games from this year like Dustborn and Concord and given them 7 out of 10 ratings, and given Black Myth Wukong an 8, just barely better than those games in the eyes of IGN. And also, they're the ones who gave a 9 out of 10 to Veilguard, which also pushes the concerns that that's going to be a big push for Game of the Year. But looking around, I mean, some of these organizations make no sense. Like, what is the LA Times doing here? Or NPR? Or Pride? Is this a game award show, or what is this? It sounds like a bunch of potential virtue signaling. And also on this list, you'll notice a group called Kinda Funny. Now, that's kind of ironic because I was planning on talking about one individual from their group here, Andy Cortez, who's been going on a big rant about DEI in video games recently. He clearly very much loves DEI and is very angry at anyone who dares to criticize it. So he made this tweet relatively recently saying, "If you're angry at the games industry for being quote-unquote too woke, I think you're a dummy. If you then fall for the right-wing grifts and allow someone to profit off of your anger, the grifter thinks you're a dummy too. Don't be a dummy." So yeah, a lot of projection here, and as always, the word grifter, the phrase, has lost all meaning. Like a lot of words on the internet, people misuse it all the time. So besides just basically calling you stupid for enjoying videos of someone criticizing anything to do with DI in video games, they're also trying to say that people sharing that narrative are grifters. And if you don't know what a grifter actually is, because places like social media and Twitter in particular have misled you, a grifter is someone who shares or pushes an agenda that they don't actually care about or believe in whatsoever. They're just doing it for a profit. And basically, people like Andy Cortez just label anyone who disagrees with them as a grifter. They can't possibly understand that someone might actually believe in what they're saying that is contrary to what people like Andy think. A lot of people are very critical of DEI, and that's a very relevant topic because it's completely eviscerated the gaming industry. So that's something a lot of people are talking about who care about games, because that's how bad things have gotten. But it goes way over Andy Cortez's head, and it seems like he has this issue with anyone who's making some sort of a profit or expanding their career by talking about these things in the gaming industry. And I can see that's a lot of projection. I can see like how this channel is performing. This is a multiple person unit running this account, and they're getting steamrolled. They're getting absolutely bodied by one-man shows across YouTube who are just recording in their bedroom talking about gaming and criticizing DEI. So I guess it must be very frustrating for them. But anyways, this is the coup de grace here. This is a minute-long rant that he recorded and posted himself for God knows what reason, where he talks about the truth involving DEI and the angry grift tubers.
You fucking need DEI because you wouldn't have jobs if DEI didn't exist to complain about. You wouldn't be making money on YouTube if DEI didn't exist. So you're really the ones that need it.
Yeah, that's a very weird point to be making. Again, the people criticizing DEI, they don't want it to exist. They wouldn't be talking about it if it didn't exist, and that's a good thing. Like, we invite the challenge. If you want to get rid of all this DEI, if you want DEI to leave the industry, perfect. That's like complaining about a cop saying like, oh, you wouldn't have a job if there was no crime. Well, duh, that'd be a great thing, but that's not the reality. A lot of people are criticizing DEI because it's had a very negative impact on the gaming industry, and I think that is a normal and healthy thing to do. You're supposed to point out problems and talk about it if it's affecting your hobby and medium.
Unless your game has only white dudes, if you have a woman, she better be fucking hot.
Yeah.
You know, get an ugly woman out of my game. That lady better be super smoking hot. Yep. That's the way they think, right? Back in the day.
So again, it's more weird projection and talking about a world that doesn't really exist. Okay, there's been diverse characters in video games forever, but the difference is that diversity was just a natural function of the story or whatever was going on. It wasn't forced diversity to push an agenda. That's the difference. That's what people have an issue with. Gamers aren't just angry because there's diversity in games. They're angry about forced diversity where they're being fed a message they don't want to receive, and their immersion and their ability to enjoy the game they're playing is ruined because stuff's being pushed on them 24/7.
Game development studios were primarily white dudes. And they didn't really think about diversity. And that's one thing, right? It was a lot rarer to find non-white dudes in game development. And as that changes, and as college and learning and all that stuff kind of becomes more ubiquitous and more available for everybody, more and more people from different walks of life want to get into game development.
Yeah.
G already said, what an elitist sort of point of view. We're saying basically, back in the day, we had all these uneducated white people making these games. But now people are going to college and they're getting an education and they're swooping in and saving this industry by making it more diverse. Like, that is a crazy thing to say. But also, he'll continue on and really hammer home this point that basically the entire industry from its inception was just a bunch of white dudes making white characters. Because apparently there's been no diverse characters ever until the last couple of years.
And then what happens then?
They're making the characters the people that they know, the things that they see.
And that's such a juvenile way of looking at games. It's not about telling a story, it's about self-inserts. You know, that's the issue we're seeing with a lot of games like Concord and other ones that we talked about so far this year, where there's a big self-insert problem, okay? You can tell a story without having to insert yourself into it. Like, it's such a weird thing that they try to normalize here. Like, no, tell a good story. It's for other people. It's not for yourself or expressing yourself or including yourself or telling your story or anything like that. It's just a very weird thing to justify.
Just like the white people did.
Just like you put yourself into stories, right?
Yeah.
And I talked about that with Dragon Age Veilguard, how the game director, Corinne Bush, she's a trans woman. And sometimes in games, you just put in your own sort of experiences. And that's so natural to happen.
No, it's not natural to happen, to do a self-insert on a story. That's why you have these massive $100+ million projects failing, because it's more of just like a fun little hobby, so you can self-insert and share whatever agenda you want. It's not about telling good stories. It's not about anything like that. It's about checking boxes and giving yourself as many pats on the back as you need. It's really pathetic that we have to sit here and actually try to rationalize and normalize whatever they're trying to say here. Like, you're supposed to just allow people to self-insert, put their own agenda in, and that's supposed to be okay and normal. No, just tell a story. Stop making it about yourself as the person creating it. Make it more about the experience for the gamer who's probably very tired of being lectured at by a bunch of out-of-touch people from the gaming industry. But anyways, you get that, and there's also some weird drama involving Andy Cortez recently where he went after Smash JT. You can see his response here. He says, "I'll delete it because I'm not a complete piece of shit. Only about 90% when it comes to dealing with you all. Sorry you were harassed. I know you never bothered to attack anybody on this website." So what's this weird, passive-aggressive, backhanded attempt at an apology? What is this about? Well, it's a very disturbing story where Andy shared what he thought was his expose on Smash JT. It turned out it was a bunch of forged and altered screenshots where Andy and other people were trying to say that Smash JT and his wife were active members on some weird cuck hookup site or something. And Andy posted that without any shame, not realizing, or maybe realizing, who knows, that all of this was just fake. It was just a bunch of slander. And then when he gets caught in 4K and, humbled, he instead lashes out at Smash JT, basically being angry at him for disproving false information that he was sharing. Very weird stuff, but I say all of this to remind you, these are the kinds of people who are going to be making the decisions for this Game Award show, okay? These are the type of people who clearly have a very, very obvious agenda and have certain biases that they are going to be operating on. But going back to the Game Awards here, there's some more bizarre news involving that. So apparently the creator, Jeff Cayley, is trying to trademark Game Awards, meaning nobody out there would legally be able to create a show with Game Awards in the title. Think about that. They're like trying to monopolize Game Awards. It's a very weird thing. And on top of that, I said earlier that the screenshot of the list of the jury vote is gone, and that is the truth. It appears after some coverage of that list, the Game Awards have gone back and hid everything. They've hid all of the jury selection, and they're making it so you don't know who's voting. But unfortunately for them, the screenshots are already out there, and it's a little bit too late to try to reverse course here. People know, and people are very concerned about the kinds of entities that will be participating in this award show, and myself and many others included don't really trust the people responsible for this, and I don't think it's going to turn out very good, to be honest. But for now, that's going to do it for this video. As always, feel free to share your thoughts about today's topics in the comments section down below. Hope you guys enjoyed the video, and I'll see you next time.